What's up guys, it is Anarcadium and welcome to Reviews on Tab. It's not fresh today. For all of you that don't know, Reviews on Tab is basically, I'm trying to get a group of reviewers. So if you're interested, email me, let's get reviews. Let's start reviewing films together. I'm trying to build a team of reviewers and you can have fun with this thing, but yeah. So Fresh is not the only guy who's going to be reviewing films. It's going to be me, and today I'm reviewing All the Money in the World. It's a good movie. It stars Christopher Plummer, Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Williams, Charlie Plummer, and Romain Duris. I hope I pronounced it right. Basically, the movie is about, it's based on a true story. It's about J. Paul Getty, who was at that time was the richest man in the world, was a billionaire, and I think at that time he was also the richest man recorded in history, because they keep reiterating that. His grandson J. Paul Getty III gets kidnapped, and they ask for a $17 million ransom. And the famous story is that J. Paul Getty was like, no, it's not happening. What I enjoyed about this film is that he was very emotionally detached from the situation. I mean, it's his grandson, but he's so emotionally detached. I mean, there's a scene where the lady walks in and is like, yeah, your son has been kidnapped and they want a $17 million ransom. And he's just like, please close the door or some shit like that. And he's just like, you know, so he has no care. He seems to not care too much about the fact that he's kidnapped. I'm not sure why. It gets explained later on in the film. You start to realize that his personality kind of links to his responses. The whole film is anchored by J. Paul Getty's responses. You know, things will happen and your first thought will be like, I wonder what this guy's gonna say. And he always satisfies the viewer with his reaction and responses to the situation. So if it wasn't for Christopher Plummer, the movie would have been quite bad. I don't know J. Paul Getty well enough, so I don't know how he acted. I don't know, I haven't seen videos of him, so I'm going to assume Christopher Plummer did a good job. I mean, he got an Oscar nomination. The foundation of the film is laid out pretty well, because in the film, Michelle Williams has divorced J. Paul Getty's firstborn son, but they have a grandson together. So J. Paul Getty hasn't really seen his grandson for a long time, and he hasn't seen Michelle Williams' character for a long time. So it makes sense for him to not care that much, but at the same time, it's his blood, so he is concerned. He just doesn't show it. Mark Wahlberg plays an ex-CIA agent who works for J. Paul Getty, and he seems like kind of like the fixer. You know, J. Paul always refers to him like, I pay you to do things that other people don't do, etc., etc. But I actually didn't like his character. He spends half the movie messing up the situation. He makes like 2 major mistakes, but he keeps reiterating the fact that he makes deals and he fixes things and he's an ex-CIA agent, but he's actually quite useless throughout the whole film. I think my only reasoning for him being in the film is the fact that it's based on a true story and the guy existed. But the portrayal of him in the film was quite terrible. So Mark Wahlberg had no purpose in that movie. I don't know why he was there. It was just super awkward watching him mess up the whole time, but reminding us that he's an ex-CIA agent. Romain Duris for me is my standout character. I've never heard of him, but in the film he's basically one of the kidnappers who ends up sympathizing with J. Paul Getty III. He ends up protecting him and keeping him out of danger, and in a way he becomes like a guardian angel for J. Paul Getty III. It's very interesting watching him transform from this kidnapper who has some sort of sympathy for the child, but at the same time wants to benefit from the kidnapping. It created a very interesting dynamic, and I think he made that film so dope. Even towards the end, there was a bit of a build-up, and he kind of assisted in helping J. Paul Getty get away with it. All the Money in the World was a good movie. That's all I'll say. It wasn't like great. It was just a good movie, and it was saved by Christopher and Romain Duris. They really saved that film. They did a good job in making it interesting. What I'm curious about is, obviously we know the controversy around All the Money in the World. They had to do reshoots because they had originally cast Kevin Spacey, and after the whole situation, when he got outed for being a sexual harasser, he kind of lost everything. Ridley Scott was very upset. He seemed very angered by the situation. He was like reshooting everything. I was like, cool, I mean, that's cool. But I am curious to see Kevin Spacey's version of it. Because I just want to see how his one would have panned out, because I'm curious. So if anybody has the final cut of that leaked, they must just put it on the net so we can watch both, because I was excited for Kevin Spacey, I won't lie. But at the same time, Christopher Plummer felt like a better option after I watched the movie, but I haven't watched Kevin Spacey's version, so it's difficult for me to judge. But yeah, I'd like to see that version. I wouldn't put it on my tab, and I think it should be on the house. I'll take it, but I wouldn't pay for it. But if you gave it to me, I'll drink it. And that's my review of it. But it is a good movie.